What is good, fam? Welcome back to the channel. This is Constant Sports. I'm your host, Constance. It is time, it is that time of the season again where the WNBA is back on our TV screens, our tablets, our phones, whatever you watch it on, is back, right? So on Friday, we welcome back the 29th season of the WNBA team. We had a new team, we had old faces and new places. And I'm going to say the season started with a bang. For some of the teams, and for some, they're still working out a little rust and kinks with new players coming into the system. But I will say that the players who are new to their teams, they really showed out. They did really well for their teams. They helped their teams win, or if their team didn't win, they produced quality minutes and numbers for their respective teams. So we saw Nafisa Collier score 34 points in the season opener, right? Which ties the league's history for opening games, right? We know back in 2008, Candace Parker did it, scoring 34 points in her career debut, right? But then turn around and Kelsey Plum scores 37 in her team season opener and her debut as the new member of the Los Angeles Sparks. So to see the W starting off the way that it did, with Nafisa scoring 34, Kelsey Plum scoring 37, Caitlin Clark recording a triple double, which I believe is her third one of her career so far in the W. And then we had DeWanda Barner passing Tina Thompson as third all time in the scoring for the WNBA. It we have had a very exciting opening weekend for the W. It shows that there's a lot to come this season, which we all know that the growth of the WNBA is happening, and these type of performances does help that out a lot. Obviously, we didn't have great performances this past weekend, um, but it's okay. It's the first games of the season. Some teams have only played one. Some have now played two games. Some teams won't play their second game until the middle of this upcoming week. So it's it's still a lot that the teams have to work out, even for the reigning champions. There's still some things that they have to figure out because it's a new season. Teams look different. So we'll see how teams adjust throughout the season. And this is a longer season as well with 44 games. So we have a lot of basketball to talk about this season, and I can't wait. Um, so let's start with the new team of the W, right? The Golden State Valkyries. Obviously, I watched some of their preseason games. The preseason is a good way to look at some of the fresh faces in the WNBA, but it's not really a tell on what a team is going to be because you don't know who even made the team until a few days or even the day before their first game. Um, so to see what the Valkyrie look like from their preseason games to now is not that big of a difference. I have high hopes for this team. It is a team that's put together very weirdly with the players in mind. You don't see a lot of big names on this team at all. So I don't know if that'll work out in their favor or not, but I guess we'll see as the season goes on. But this team, they're young and they're exciting to watch. My only thing is their first half is not good. They do not have a first half basketball. I don't know if it's like they don't have a game plan for the first of it. They just figuring it out as they go. Because after halftime, that middle to the end of the third quarter and the fourth quarter, this team wakes up. They play amazing defense, amazing offense. But at that point, they've already found themselves in a hole that they can't really get out of because of the fact that the teams that they're going against have given themselves so much of a cushion, they start playing smarter basketball. I do believe that they will have more wins this season than what a lot of us had expected. I believe most people have them winning about 10 games. Um, I see them winning roughly 15, right? Maybe even 20, depending on if they can figure out how to have complete game plans and executing those game plans. So that is definitely something that the coach and some of the older players that are on this team have to figure out how to settle down the younger players and some of the players who haven't really played that much in the W because they played overseas. So to see how they progress throughout this season, I do believe will be one of the most interesting stories of the season. Um, Next team I want to talk about is the Dallas Wings, right? Dallas Wings drafted Paige Beckers with the number one overall pick in this year's draft. And Paige is Paige, right? We know what type of player she is. We know what she can do for a team when they need someone to step up. But my issue with Dallas is their offense is stagnant. Pretty much the entire game. They don't have anyone who threatens the post. So they don't have a post player to put on the block and be there to take away some of the eyes and aggression on their guards who, to be honest, their guards are their money makers, right? You have a Wallet, and now you have Paige Beckers, you have Maddie Segrist who can give you points at every position of the floor. But without that center, that post player to be in there so you can go in and out, play that in and out basketball is going to be a struggle for them. And because their game stays outside of the 3 point line, if you look at their games, all five of their players are all standing around the 3 point line. So the defense has time to help off ball because everyone is there, right? So teams look like they have this amazing defense against Dallas, but it's just Dallas's offense is not progressing the way it should, right? They let go of a lot of players this offseason. Yes, they have McCowan who has not really progressed her game that much over the years. So I'm not quite sure how they can develop her more so that she could help them with that post presence. And obviously, they got rid of Kaylani Brown. She's now in Phoenix. So they have to figure out how to get it. Either Smith has to step up, which they acquired her from the Fever, or they have to get someone when it's time to get some trades in there. So to see how they fix it, if they can figure out how to balance out their offense, I don't see this being a good season for them, almost similar to last season. But like I said, it was the first game of the season, but who played in their first game are also the people who played in their preseason, and these games look relatively the same. So there's a lot that they need to figure out so this offense is not stagnant and teams will not run over them. Um, we're going to talk about the reigning WNBA champs, New York Liberty, who took on the Aces, which is rightfully so. Sometimes you see whoever won the championship, their first game, they're playing against a team that they beat in the championship. But right now, Vegas and New York are your top teams in the WNBA with Minnesota as well. Um, so New York, this game was pretty close fairly on in the beginning. It kind of got out of hand towards the end. Um, New York they got their rings, they raised the banner, so it was a lot of emotions and a lot of excitement for this game. And New York did not let their fans down. They played an amazing all around game. I do believe that Jonquel Jones looks better now than she did last year, and that's a lot to say when she was the MVP when she's a finals MVP, but she looks very good. She looks like she's in mid-season form, and that's a lot for a bigger player to be in mid-season form at the beginning of the season. That helps out their team a lot as it goes on. So hopefully she can keep up that stamina that she's had so far for the season. Uh, the I do believe the Aces will be fine. Them starting the season 0-1, losing against the reigning champions isn't a big deal. Only thing that they have to figure out is how Jewel Lloyd fits into that hole that Kelsey Plum left, right? Kelsey Plum did a lot for this team. So now to put a player like Jewel Lloyd in that position is a kind of hard because they're not the same players. Jewel Lloyd is more used, she's used to being on a team that everything is surrounded by her, right? On the Aces, nothing's going to be surrounded around her. So I believe it's going to be harder for her to figure out her role on this team as it's going to be for the Aces to figure out how they fit her into the system. Because the Aces system works, obviously. They're back-to-back champions, first time that's happened in a very long time. And they were so close to making it to the championship last year. So I believe that is more work for Jewel Lloyd to figure out how she works into their system, um, and I think that she could figure it out. She's a smart player. She just um, she just needs time to figure it out. That's it. Obviously, the Aces didn't have that many. You don't have a lot of preseason games. Your training camp isn't that long. So her season debut with the Aces was not pretty. She didn't score much, so I don't see that happening ever again. If so, it's definitely a foul problem issue. So we'll see. We'll see how Jewel and the Aces can figure out how they work with each other. Um, so overall, the opening weekend, there were blowouts. There was one, two close games. There were very good games. Uh, but the very first game of the season is something where you look to see what's your team makeup now. Does it look like they will work out in the future? But it's not games that you will predict that they're going to win it all, right? Because right now I can say that New York could win it all again. I can also say that Minnesota could win it all, right? The two teams who are in the finals. But I can also say that Vegas, Becky Hammond, they're going to figure it out and they could win it again. So there's that first game of the season for fans. I think it's mainly for fans to look at their teams and see we might be doing something, we might not be doing something. It just depends, right? And I know how Minnesota, Vegas, and New York are like the top teams for everyone in the W. Everyone's looking at them as the three top teams, and rightfully so, right? They've been the three top teams for the past few seasons. Um, there are some teams that I believe will have a much better season than others predicted, or even better than what their season opener suggested, right? My first team is the Sparks. I looking at this Sparks roster, it is one of the most talented rosters that we have in the W, right? It's a mixture of very young players and some veterans, but not in like old veterans, right? Yeah, like 11 years maybe. But this roster, has their everyone has a job, right? You don't have too many of one thing. So I think they look very very good right now. They're 1-1 on the season. So out of two games, they look very good. A very good team so far. Um, and that's without Cameron Brinkett. She hasn't played, but Rakia Jackson and Dearica Hamby and Kelsey Plum, the way that they already are working well together, adding Cameron Brink into that mix is only going to make things better, right? And a lot of teams have players out that are still injured, which I don't see them being out for far too long. But like I said, this is a longer season, so you don't want to rush them back to possibly cause another injury. Next team is the Phoenix Mercury. Uh, the addition of Sably and Alyssa Thomas to this team is probably the best acquisitions of the offseason. I know everyone suggested that Dewana Bonner going to Fever was one of the best acquisitions, but I do believe with Phoenix losing Diana Taurasi and then losing Brittany Griner, them getting Sably and Thomas to go alongside of Khalil Copper, is the best thing that a team could have done. So far, Sably and Thomas has been playing absolutely amazing basketball, and I don't see that going anywhere. These are two very good players, very experienced players, and how they played in these season openers was phenomenal. They played their game. It's very hard to stop either one of them. But the fact that Thomas is very strong, she plays a lot of bully ball, and she knows how to back down her opponents. She plays amazing defense. Sably can hurt you from every position on the floor. She's a very versatile player, and Kalia Copper is the same, right? She's an amazing defender. She can score from any position on the floor. So for those three to be on the team once Copper comes back and is healthy, I do believe Phoenix, they're gonna be a problem this year. And I love it. I love it. I love it. The next is the Seattle Storm. They stumbled big time in that season opener. It was they looked a little unorganized, discombobulated. I don't know what it was, but they were not prepared for that game. Um, Ezzy Magnor didn't score until the end of the third quarter. Um, I understand that them losing Jewel Lloyd kind of shifts their team a little bit because of the fact that a lot of the plays and a lot of the offense was around her. But the fact that you have Nneka Ogwumike, Skylar Diggins-Smith, Alyssa Clark, you have Ezzy Magnor, you have players, you have veteran players and younger players who this team should be dangerous this season. Um, if they are not, then I do see Seattle making a huge change when it comes to the coaching because you cannot have a team like this that has very good star players and very good role players, and your season looks a little like how they started the season. Do I see Ezzy Magnor not scoring until the third quarter? Absolutely not. Do I see Nneka Ogwumike barely scoring any points in a game? Absolutely not. Their shooting percentage was awful. They scored like 35%, right? 35% from the floor, which, well, they will figure it out. I will say that Skylar Diggins looks amazing. She is playing amazing, amazing basketball. She was finding her sweet spots as she was getting there and she was hitting her baskets. She was one of the few players who was actually taking it to the hole, which I felt like that was something that Seattle was not doing. You're used to Nneka getting the ball at the top of the key, a jab step, couple dribbles, and she's to the basket. That did not happen. So there's a lot that not Phoenix, but Seattle needs to figure out, and they will, because this is an older team. I don't see them being as bad as they were in this first game, like that the whole season. Um, so the WNBA is going in a they're going in a great direction. I do see this being a very exciting and fun season. I'm so excited to watch it, but I'm always excited to watch every single season, right? The W is growing, it's changing, and I'm loving it. But that's all for the stream today. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe. Let's continue to support these women who play the game that we all love. Uh, Peace, love, happiness.